Urban historian. Retitle. Odd enough. Just show you a couple little pictures. There's a guy from Fiji. Just kind of looking up some stuff. As always, some shit just kind of pops out. I was trying to find like similar looking people in Africa. This guy's on an island in Fiji. This is the closest I can find. I mean, it says Gambia, I assume. It's an older picture. But they still kind of look like Hawaiians or Polynesians and or Aboriginals. Australian Aboriginals. Obviously I'm just looking through shit and this pops up. Asian Africans, which is funny because I got a story in here I like to get into. I was looking up African Negroes here to identify African Negroes, and this African Asiana came up. Kind of looks like my father, who got his head chopped off in that pic, but man, you see my little afro there. So these are Oceanic Negroes, which kind of look like, type of hairstyles I used to have when I was a kid. The Africans, this guy's not even African, but that's what I get when I type in African Negro. We can look at some of these African Negroes. Not too many afros. She's an American Negro, this guy. Where is he from? Doesn't say. Look, he's on an island. Anyways, Afro. So Afro-American. Let's get into something here. Basically, that reviewing this document, Melanesian Australian people in America. Negroes of Darien in Peru. Basically talks about Melanesians or, like Polynesians, black islanders, coming to America far back, according to this guy and other writers. So that stood out. Extension of, Yada and Patagones regions and shit, where Magellan's ass came around here before, they already knew where they're fucking going and shit. Pardon the language, but, it talks about being New Guinea, Solomon, these areas. It talks about with opinions about Melanesians and some early references to Negroes on American soil here, continent. I began to kind of just wonder, as it states, also some, So I'm talking about kind of breaking down language, how I figured out how to pass a definition test by understanding roots and, how things apply in a sentence. So I always ace this test, even though I don't really know the definitions of those words. When I see them, I can put them together. Let's see. Talks about, more language. So basically says they found blackamoors in America, which is a term from, Moorish rule in Europe. And so I figure, that Latin translation, Italian or Spanish would have to be Negro Amores, aka ninja lovers. Okay. So, and knowing the title of, titles and chapters and people all become, names like African, is what I'm saying, or black. Or the discovery of New World, there's already obviously cities here. So it's not a new world, but, even Norse people are here. Norsemen. That's just kind of side notes. You can, take these words and punch them in Google and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you'll find something similar. Um, Negros, often referred to in, this area, involves African Negroes. So it's a different type of Negroes here. And they discovered a Lagoa Santa type of Negroes, or skulls, in America, South America, that is, where they first started carting slaves from into Europe and Africa. Look it up. So while researching my last name, it's a surname for mulatto slaves. So I'm a different type of Negro and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm a real ninja. No. Knowing everything, is reclassified by color, black. And, black people were like, well, we're African, so we want to be African American. But you'll notice, again, it said, what? Was it Asian? Where is it at? Asian Africans. So are you actually or American Africans? Like American blacks, or, blackamoors, or American Negroes? When they talk about America, the color they found was blackamoor. So when they say you're Black American, then you need to really listen to what they're saying. You are from America. I mean, maybe you're African by all means. But if they came here and found a bunch of black people and traded them in Africa, don't you think the Africans would be like, who are these people? These Afros don't look like my people. You're like, come on. Afro-American. There's a link I was talking about, the guy with the Fiji, the fro, my Jeezy and shit. You look at the slave coast, like I said, in Africa, you'll notice the Ashanti natives really don't rock afros. Oceanic Negroes tend to. Reading further, terms like that popped out. Obviously, if they're near Asia, then they were in India or Indio, like they called the natives. Just some of my side notes to understand, how I interpret this book. It's up to you to kind of ask these questions, see what you think. But Hindustan was the official name of present-day India before colonization, aka post-Columbian history. Reading stuff, basically it says dark and hot regions, and Arizona and California. The color is never black. It could only be compared with that of not infrequent full-blooded Negro, so who is dark brown rather than black. I don't know if you can see if I'm black. You see the keyboard and my fingers. Maybe I'm black or dark brown. I don't know. Basically Negro blood, and I'm talking about how Morgan Freeman's on Ancestry.com DNA testing, and he's not. He's got no Indian in him. But this book states the color of such a Negro and that of a dark full-blood Indian, there is but little difference. So it basically means that India has any Negro blood, that any Negro has any Indian admixture. That's something I would probably type in Google. Which clearly indicates, amalgamations of people like mulattoes. So, why is the DNA testing hiding that? Kind of strange. Talking about an art exhibit in San Diego, and my history professor, who was the first teacher in my college education from high school on down, that talked about Moorish rule in Europe. Guy was very credible because he was doing heavy reenactments in Europe, like old battle reenactments. So he was a history guy. Like he lives that shit. So He was not lying. More information in the document. You know, as I had basically talked about mulattoes, it comes out here. So the ships, I've known that some ships have left mulattoes and mestizos in Cape San Lucas. So basically, it's saying they're carting mulattoes from America into slavery. There's a place inhabited by a tribe of Indians whose chief was mulatto. His chief was mulatto. I mean, this is, you know, before they had fucking cameras and shit. I mean, near when they had it. So, I mean, all these people supposedly got wiped out. I'm talking about how the Melanesian people right now are getting the term African applied to them. So basically, when their children are, you know, recolonized there and told they're African, they're going to be, you know, told the standard thing like, go back to Africa. So they lose their native island. So, you know, I'm going through talking about, you know, what I'm looking at in this, and they're defining terms like Oceanic, you know, Negro or African Negro. So here, you know, and this is what I was typing yesterday, but found this today. Asian Africans. So are we American Africans or African Americans? Which one is it? Are you just African because it's a title you've become? You know, after civil rights and shit. Before that, you had an afro. So that's the end of the first video. We'll see where this goes.